Hello. Welcome to this Retool tutorial about Retool's table component. Let's jump right in. Okay, here I have two tables and I am using data from my Sport Monks, a really cool API that is free and you can use. Now I have two queries, teams, squads. Squads, we will see later, is using directly table one selected row ID to actually pull data. So as I change my select different rows, the data from this will update. Now let's go to the basics. A data source. So whenever you first with a table, it will ask you to select a source. Here I have squad and teams. Now if I select teams, I actually don't get anything. Why is that? You can look at your query, view state, and I see that my data is actually nested into another data. So what I can do here is click on FX to set the value dynamically and just add team data done. So automatically it will identify all of my columns. So you can see all of these columns that it has identified. Now, the column ID, which presumably holds your primary key for your table, is pretty important for many operations across Retool. I won't go in depth about this right now, but just as an example, if I remove the ID and I go to the table state, I have a given amount of references that I can use. But if I actually add ID, you automatically see that I have a row key variable. And when I select any row, you can see it start changing. So you can actually reference that in the future. The same thing goes for bulk upload queries and so on. Okay, I have a bunch of columns that I don't want, so I can either hide them or delete them. One of the main differences that I've seen is that when you try reference the columns, if it's deleted, you can use a variable. If it's hidden, you can use another variable. But we won't go into that right now. We will just delete them. We will delete country, venue, gender, the name we will leave, shortcode we will leave, there, found it, type, placeholder. All right, those are the columns that I want. Now for the third one, image pad, automatically Retool identified it as a URL, which makes sense because it's a URL. But I will change it to image, and it will automatically take the image from the URL. If it is public, it will take your image there. And here you can see, because it was set up as a URL, it has an event handler to open the URL based item, which is referencing that link. I will remove this because it's no longer a URL, so I'll delete this event handler. I have found it. So found it, I can see it detected a number, but it added a 1000 separator. So I will scroll down and I will remove this tick from here, and you can see it automatically did it. And then type identified as a tag, I will leave it as is. But if you want, you could just change this directly to text or something else. And then last this one here, I will go to date. It would automatically remove the time. And I also can change the date format if there's something I prefer, for example, date, month, and year. All right. Now, if I scroll down further in the settings, you can see add-ons, toolbar. Let me just remove this. Toolbar here is this aspect here, the filter, download, and reload. It can be helpful, but I'm not going to use it this time. I will go through my appearance. I will just remove the table border. And actually here, I can already select automatic column width. So it will automatically adapt the width of my columns. Now it's starting to look better. And I will remove the footer so that doesn't show it anymore. Okay, so now it's looking much better. Now let's do the second table. I select on it and I'll do the same. I will hide the ID, column, and remove the columns that I don't want. Transfer, player, team ID, position, I will leave it. This I will leave, start, end. Those ones I will leave and player. Now, the API is bringing a player nested value with all the information, and I'm getting this here. So one way of actually extracting is to additional columns and map them. So for example, I will add a new column. I will select apply the object. I will ID name, and the column will be name as well. And the map value will be I dot name. So as you can see here, I have all of the values from the IP, and then the map value, you can actually, as it says, map whatever you have there additionally. So item refers to the JSON, so all of this, and I just granularly select name. I could decide I want to display name, gender. So let's actually do this. I will select this name and I will duplicate it. Oh, I can't. So I will just another one, and I will select again the object, and I would put image, and then this will be image as well, and then the map object will be item dot image path. So I'm getting that, but actually, because I actually want to see, let's see if we can get the image in there. So what if I put image? I'm not getting any. Oh, there you go. I'm actually getting it because the source is still player, and I put item image path. So I got the two fields that I actually am interested in. I will leave it for there. So I can remove this object value from here. And this actually I can remove. I will prefer put it as text, so it has a better format, and that's it. So now I will rearrange this columns. Name goes first, whether that's captain, jersey, and then the image. Now the positions. How? Oh wait. Before that, let's do the same thing. I will remove toolbar, and then I will go to appearance and remove the footer and automatic column width. Okay, that's much better. Now, how the API is returning position is by an ID, a primary key. And I was not able or didn't have time to look into how to make a join in the table, but I actually copied those positions in a variable. So I pasted them here. We can look at it. If I go to my state, view state, and I see the value, I have 21 positions, and you will see they have an ID and a name. So now I want to map all of my positions names to here rather than to have that. So what I will do is go to my position ID, and I will again map the value, but actually I will put this as a string. First it will disappear or it will show 24. But what I will do is then map it. So I will search positions value, and then I will find put function xid of this value is equal to item. And what I want to return is now I'm not getting the expected result. And that is because if you see the value here, the ID is actually being formatted as a string. Otherwise, I would see it in green without the double quotes. So something really easy I can do is, because we're finding ID, which is a string, compared to item, which it isn't, what I can do is transform the item to string, and there you go. I'm comparing all of the ID strings to my item converted to strings and then returning name. Now I have the positions of the teams. So I will that, and then I actually, the second detail position, I can remove this column here. Okay, all right, let's do a couple of other tweaks. I have a column which is captain, which is a Boolean, but I think it wastes a lot of time because it's just for one. So what I'll do is just change the color for the captains. So go to my table settings, row color, and I will a ternary. So there is a current row. So it will actually make reference to each single row, captain. If it's equal to true, then a color string palette, otherwise blank. So now the captain has been highlighted in blue. So I can actually get rid. Well, actually, here's a warning. If I remove it, then my color disappears. Then I will do that. I will just hide it, hide color. Or another way of doing it is selecting current source row. So by doing that, oops, sorry, I will remove 1, 2, 3. Current source captain. So now I can actually remove captain. You can see there how current row and current sorcerer interact. And then something I can do if I'm really interested about the pictures, we can have the row height to be dynamic. There you go. But now the whole thing doesn't really work because of these two tables. So let's do something different. We will have a split pane. We will put it on the left side of our screen. We will put it maybe 20, 25. And now this expand content to fit. It's really helpful to actually make sure that things are occupying all of the screen and we don't have weird spaces. So we can do that. And also in the main one, I can do expand content to fit. There you go. So now I will again put this here. Let's see. I don't like my width. I don't want to call it width. It's doing it like that even for position, which is not great. So now by doing all of this, we have list of teams on the left and we have the table on the right. And whenever we click here, team will change and we'll have the information. Oh, there's a container there. I can see in the title. The only last thing I have to show you then here is again the data source for this table, which is squad, is actually dynamically taking table 1 selected row ID. That's why the API is triggering every time I select different team. Okay, I hope you liked this video. Do let me know if you have any other thoughts, comments, or feedback. Thank you.